This is my seat.
I am afraid you are mistaken.
He only wanted to take his seat, the one printed clearly on his boarding pass. But before he could sit down, someone else claimed it. Someone who looked at him not as a passenger, but as if he didn't belong at all. The stares, the whispers, the silence of those around him made the moment heavier than the cramped cabin air. What no one knew was that this young black boy carried a truth powerful enough to change everything. A truth that would flip the balance of power in a single, unforgettable moment. The question is, why did it take humiliation for anyone to see his worth? For Marcus, flying wasn't a luxury. It was routine. His father's work meant he'd grown up in airports, boarding gates, and window seats that overlooked entire cities. At just 16, he carried himself with a quiet confidence, the kind that came from knowing he belonged anywhere his ticket took him. This flight was no different. A carry-on bag slung over his shoulder, headphones resting around his neck. He moved down the aisle with practiced ease. To the other passengers, he was just another teenager. But beneath that calm exterior, Marcus held a secret about who he really was. A truth that would soon collide with prejudice in the most public of ways. Marcus moved down the narrow aisle, scanning the numbers above the seats until he reached his row. His ticket said it plainly. 14A, window seat. But someone was already there. A woman, neatly dressed, her designer handbag tucked under the seat in front of her. She glanced up, her eyes moving over him slowly, as if weighing whether he deserved to be standing there at all. "Excuse me," Marcus said softly, holding up his boarding pass. She didn't move. Instead, she let out a short laugh that carried farther than it should have in the cramped cabin. "You must be mistaken," she said, her tone dripping with disbelief. "This isn't your seat." The passengers nearby shifted, uncomfortably. Some looked down at their phones, pretending not to hear. Others watched with a mix of curiosity and amusement. Marcus felt the burn of their stares, but he steadied himself. He knew what his ticket said. He knew he was right. Still, the woman remained, her posture stiff, her eyes daring him to push back. The flight attendant approached, clipboard in hand. Marcus held out his boarding pass before the woman could speak. The attendant's eyes darted from the pass to the seat, then back again. For a moment, Marcus thought it was resolved, but the woman's voice cut through the air. He probably printed it wrong. These things happen. Maybe he should try the back of the plane where he belongs. A ripple of unease spread through the aisle. The attendant hesitated. Marcus felt a lump rise in his throat. Why was it suddenly a question of whether he belonged? Why did no one speak up? Seconds dragged like hours as the silence of the other passengers grew louder than words. Marcus could feel the pressure building, the humiliation tightening around him. His palms were sweating, his chest tightening, but he refused to move. The truth was on his side, but truth didn't seem to matter in that moment. The attendant finally leaned in, whispering something to the woman, who folded her arms defiantly. "Fine," she snapped, "but don't expect me to sit next to him." The words hung heavy in the air, coated in venom, impossible to ignore. Marcus slid into the seat at last, but the victory felt hollow. Every glance, every whisper, was a reminder that his presence was being questioned in real time. The plane hadn't even left the ground, and already the journey had become a battlefield. What Marcus didn't know was that this fight over a seat was about to unravel a truth far greater than a boarding pass. A truth that would shift the power in that cabin and leave everyone watching in stunned silence. The engines roared to life, but inside row 14, the silence was deafening. Marcus sat rigid, staring out the window, trying to swallow the sting of humiliation. He could feel the woman beside him, shifting in her seat as if the very air he breathed was an offense. Every so often, her voice cut through in sharp whispers. Unbelievable. They let anyone sit here now. Each word was a dagger, twisting deeper. The flight attendant passed again, offering drinks. The woman leaned forward, her voice raised, so others could hear. I don't feel safe sitting here. Can you move him? Gasps flickered through the rows. The attendant froze, torn, while Marcus clenched the armrest, heat rising to his face. Safe? From what? From him? For a moment, the EE cabin felt like it was holding its breath. Then a voice came, not from Marcus, not from the woman, but from the intercom. Calm, steady, unmistakable. This is your captain speaking. Welcome aboard. The woman's posture changed instantly. Her head snapped toward the sound, then back to Marcus. She hadn't made the connection yet, but Marcus had. That was his father's voice, the owner of the airline, the man who built the very company she trusted to fly her across the sky. The weight of every insult, every dismissive glance, shifted in that instant. Marcus's humiliation began to burn into something else. Strength. He wasn't just a boy who'd been denied a seat. He was the son of the man who owned every seat on that plane. And as the truth unraveled, the balance of power was about to flip. The question wasn't whether Marcus belonged there anymore. It was how the woman would face what came next. As the plane leveled in the sky, the truth could no longer be ignored. Passengers who had once looked away now leaned in, whispering, in shock as the captain's voice echoed again. Marcus's father, the man who built the airline from the ground up. The same boy who was dismissed, mocked, and treated like an intruder was, in reality, heir to the very company carrying them through the clouds. The woman beside him shrank into her seat, her confidence dissolving into silence. But for Marcus, the damage had already been done. No announcement, no sudden shift in respect could erase the sting of being judged unworthy before a word had even left his mouth. The power dynamic had flipped, yes, but the scars of that moment remained. Because this wasn't just about a seat on a plane. It was about the countless times black voices are silenced, dismissed, or treated as less than, until some hidden power or status forces the world to pay attention. Marcus's story is one, but there are millions more without a spotlight, without the safety net of influence or wealth. And so, the question lingers long after the seatbelt light fades. Why should dignity depend on proving worth? Why must respect be earned through power instead of granted through humanity? This story may have ended at cruising altitude, but the lesson demands we keep our eyes open on the ground. Because until we confront the prejudice we pretend not to see, the cycle will never break. So ask yourself, when the moment comes, will you stay silent, or will you speak up? And if you want to speak up for Black voices, subscribe and join our community. Share in the comments. Has this ever happened to you? Have you ever witnessed something like this?